Today, I'm going to share this beautiful success story about a client that was able to, well, really heal her symptoms from rheumatoid arthritis, as well as transform her life in lots of different ways. I'll answer questions at the end, and please share this with anyone that you think might find this information useful. You can also tag them in the comments if it's going to be valuable to them. And please hit like, heart reacts, comment with any questions, which I'll get to at the end. And any activity in the comments gets this out to more people, be greatly appreciated. So I'm Sam Neffendorf, and I guide people with chronic health conditions to heal themselves by realizing the root causes of their illness and the choices that they have to heal. So in this particular case study, I started working with a woman in her early 60s who had been struggling with rheumatoid arthritis for around 10 years. And she also had something going on called Morton's neuromas. This is in both her feet, and she'd had that for about the same amount of time. Now, Morton's neuromas it's a nerve condition where the tissue around the nerves, generally between your toes, gets inflamed, and this can lead to this sharp burning pain, which is described as feeling like you're standing on a pebble. So, yeah, in the first session that we started working, we had to focus on the neuromas. They were the most present thing for her because she was also due to have steroid injections injected into them the following week. So we explored with meta consciousness, and we used some questions to explore the theme of powerlessness and feeling hurt and trapped. And this is what her feet meant to her, and those particular part of her nerves meant as well. And during this, we found a specific memory at the time where she'd felt powerless to travel to help another family member that had had a serious accident abroad. Now, this has caused her a lot of pain, also emotionally, and the connection was she hadn't been able to get on her feet to do something about it. But we worked using EFT, matrix reimprinting, and we got her pain down a lot. I think it was from a 9 out of 10 to a 1 out of 10 during the session, and she felt like she couldn't feel the lumps anymore. And she'd also felt relieved about not having been able to do what she wanted to do to protect a family member. So, yeah, shortly after that, I got an email from her, and she'd been to hospital for the injections, and they did a scan beforehand, and they were told that the lumps weren't there and that she must never have had them in the first place, which is quite a common thing that I've heard from doctors or from clients through coming back from their doctors about several conditions now, because there's no sort of premise for this in the medical model that these things can just disappear. So they just think it was a misdiagnosis. But from the meta consciousness perspective, then it happens at the end of a healing process. So this was really cool. And things continued to be great with this client as well. We did 5 more sessions. She was working, it was over a period of several months, and we started addressing the rheumatoid arthritis. So, because this is a label, we have to break it down into individual symptoms and find the specific root causes of each symptom using meta consciousness questions. The main theme for this client was around self-devaluation, feeling powerless to change many aspects of her life, things like relationships. There's a big one about being bullied at work, and a resigned acceptance of that she just wasn't going to be able to do anything about it. Okay, so I see there's quite a lot of people joining. Please do put any questions in the comments. I'll be very happy to answer them at the end. Annie, great to hear that this was relevant to you. I've just seen your comment, and yeah, that you had a deep, unexpected healing. That's awesome. So yeah, thanks so much. That's from because I've also done an article on this subject earlier on today as well. Okay. So yeah, so she didn't feel like she was able to do anything about all of these things in her life. So a real sense of powerlessness, feeling trapped, self-devaluation around these things. And most issues to do with pain um, occur in the musculoskeletal system, and they relate to self-devaluation conflicts. The function of these parts of the body, so your musculoskeletal system, is you're taking action in the world. This is your sort of action, how you take action. It represents your strength, represents being able to cope in the world. So, very common themes like you're not good enough, I can't handle this, I'm too weak for this. These are all things that have an effect on the musculoskeletal system. In this case, with rheumatoid arthritis, the main tissue affected is the connective tissue between joints. And this had themes for her about being weak, powerless, not being able to cope with situations. So, very similar to the themes that we've already talked about here. Um, Different areas of the body have different meanings as well. So, the hands, which were a big issue for her, relate to, for example, not being able to hold on to or grab something in life. And that can be literally or metaphorically. And so, as once we had some understanding, we again used EFT, matrix reimprinting to explore, lots of events from past relationships, work situation, family relationships, bullying at work, and used some techniques to actually go deeper and find the root cause. And in one case, one situation, one session, we got back to an event in the womb, and this can happen. Quite a lot of stuff happens. Sort of root causes are dropped down when you're in the womb, and we're able to release the energetic charge from that. So over this time, she had really good physical results. Her fingers actually straightened out, pain reduced very significantly, and she was able to do things that required strength. For example, opening jars, which she hadn't been able to do for a long time, and yeah, just feeling better about herself. So her life really improved. But there were some specific ways, and this I really love this because it shows that healing is not just about physical healing; it's actually about clearing life issues as well, based on what your body's trying to tell you. And she had some really great results in her life as well. So she changed things. She changed the relationship with a family member, where she'd felt very dominated in the past, and it's enabled her to open up a lot of forgiveness and acceptance for herself and also this other person, and the relationship really improved as a result of that. Um, Likewise, at work, where she'd felt very vulnerable, she became able to stand up for herself, and she was actually able to make a claim against her employer, and she ended up with enough money to live and enjoy her life until her retirement pension funds became available to her. So yeah, so she got a lot of freedom from this, and I also supported her through that process of of all the fears and doubts around the process of making the claim, and she had a good result. And then and I spoke to her, saw her again about a year and a half later, and things have continued to be good for her in many ways. So yeah, it was really good. I just really like this because it shows, as I said, it's not just about physically healing, it's also you can start to create a life more in line with who you are. So yeah, so One other thing that I think is important here is I got in touch with this client a couple of days ago just to confirm that she was okay with me sharing this information. And she said yes. And she also told me that she was being affected in some ways by the lockdown and the impact of that situation. Her symptoms, some of her symptoms had actually come back, specifically the pain in her feet, which was again about feeling trapped, not being able to visit a family member that she wanted to, not being able to travel to see them. So her feet started hurting again, which I thought was very interesting. She also said that um, she had continued to have ongoing good emotional outcomes, and she was able to talk about things which were really hard from her past to previously talk about, that she was now able to share and talk about no problem. So that was great. But I thought it was interesting how the effect of the lockdown and what it had caused, is lockdown a big biopsychological trauma for pretty much everyone, really. And so it really is a time that brings people's deepest wounds to the surface. So it actually is a great time to explore and understand your deepest wounds and find out, yeah, what might be behind them. Now, yeah, if you're interested in finding out more about this, if this resonates with you, if you'd like to find out how you can understand your root causes and heal your life, you can get in touch with me, and there's a link in the description of this live stream. There's also, I'll put a link down below where you can book 20 or 30 minutes with me to just get some understanding of your symptoms and the options that you have to heal yourself. And that's really important, is that it's really about healing yourself. It's not about me healing you. That's not how it works. It's about understanding your body's self-healing potential, and then using some techniques which I can guide you through to heal yourself. So it's very empowering. It's great that not only do you heal your symptoms, you also can really transform many other areas of your life. So thank you very much for your attention. I'm very happy to answer any questions on this, anything about either these symptoms or anything about the healing process, or any questions that anyone wants to ask. Just drop them in the comments, either live now, or if you comment as a follow-up to this, I will be checking the questions